You hear the word variables and think of this? Then you're probably traumatized by math classes. Hello and welcome back, my beautiful people. Today, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're talking about variables, but not like in math classes. We're talking about variables in Python. In the last two videos, you saw how we used numbers and strings, and the cool thing is we don't need to use the code in one line anymore. We can divide it in multiple lines and work with variables and save our results in some variables and can calculate even more. So if we take our first variable, we just type in x equals to 5. Then you can look at the x is the name of the variable. The equal sign is, okay, we want to save our value on the right side to our variable. So the x is now equal to 5. And if we print it in the next line, we can look at it and we will get a 5. If we put in an y and it's equal to 7, we can even take a new variable called result, and this is equal to x plus y. X plus y, and we can do our basic calculation. So, and print our result. And if you have a look at it, the computer in the background will go line by line through your code. So we put in x equals to 5 and y equals to 7. Then we put in here our x. This x will get here, oh, x is 5, so here is a 5 in there. Then we put the plus symbol, y is 7, oh, there's the 7. So we put 5 plus 7 is 12, and we print our result, and herein is the 12 stored. As we used last time strings, we can even do it with strings, put in strings and put in the result over there. And as you know, if we put a plus sign between two strings, it's not an addition, it's a concatenation. So we put in 5 plus 7, and the two strings of 5 and 7 were put together. Maybe a better example is if we put in here hello and put in there world and have a look at it. It's hello world, yeah, without the spacing, but so we can read it better. Yeah. Then the next idea is if you have an x over there with hello and then the y with world. If you put in another x and call it Carl, because Carl, and if you print now the result, the lower x will override the upper x. So in the x is stored Carl at this time. So we put in here hello. Then we put in here in the x Carl. So the hello will get forgotten, removed, and it's out of there. And our x is stored with Carl. And our result will be Carl plus spacing world. And so it put out Carl world. Yeah, cool. That's so variables can be within multiple data types. We can use our numbers, strings, what we learned, and some further data types which we will learn later, like lists and booleans, and even dictionaries, etc., etc. But here the main goal is you can divide your code into multiple lines and can store in each calculation you want. For example, if we now think of a code we want to use in multiple lines, we've seen we can calculate between numbers and numbers and strings and strings, but we can't calculate between strings and numbers. But there are possibilities, like if you put in here, y isn't a string anymore, it's now a number. Yeah, makes sense. But we want a result with a string concatenation. So we can put in here, like casting. If you put the str around here, that's a Python implemented function. which put us the y to a string. We could even put our apostrophes around it. It would have the same effect. But if we put here the apostrophes around the 5, then our y isn't string. In this case, the y is still a number if we use it in further code, but just in this little thing, it's used as a string. So we don't override the y as a string. We can use it as a number any further times, but in this special condition, it's a string. And so we can calculate with it, and it's cal5. Yeah. Some other important things is you can initialize a string with a single quote or double quotes. It doesn't matter. You must just be careful. If you use single quote at the beginning, you have to end the string with a single quote. So if I do it like this, hello, and then do a double quote, the string isn't finished yet. But if I put a single quote at the end, then the string is finished. And that's the possibility to print in quotes into a string like this. If you want some double quotes in a string, you can initialize the string with single quotes around it there. But if you want some single quotes in your string, then you need otherwise the double quotes around it there. So if I would want it here a single quote and then end it with a single quote, we will get an error because the first quote will initialize our string. Everything what's behind the first quote is the string, and the next quote, which is the same quote as the beginning quote, will end our string. And then in this case, there's another quote which can't be put to another quote, and that's just an error. Yeah, so we can use variables with different data types. We can initialize strings between quotes, single quotes, and multiple quotes. Another pretty interesting thing is, you think if you put x in there and say it hello, and put an uppercase x behind it and call it John. The thing is this lowercase? Yeah, it looks like lowercase. If you now print out the uppercase x, the uppercase x, it gives me John. If I put in the lowercase x, it gives me hello. Oh, that's a German hello. Yeah, maybe it's hello. I'm sorry, boys. So, the thing is, if you have a lowercase variable and an uppercase variable with the same name, like name in lowercase and name in uppercase, the first name won't get overwritten with the second name because the variable names are case sensitive, and just if you write exactly the same low characters or upper characters, then it will get overwritten. So if I put in, as we've seen before, this x to a lowercase x, then it will print us John. Yeah. So now you should have a minimal understanding of variables, how we can put our code into several lines and don't need to print it out all in one line, but we can have some modularization of our code and even can reuse it. So if we had print John in the beginning, like we saw last video with strings, if we print hello world, we could just use it one time, and then the next time we need to put another print hello world. But now we can say, if we want it multiple times, for example, here is our hello world, get rid of this, and now we want to use it multiple times, we can just print x again. And that's the most important thing about programming. We don't want to write the same code over and over again. We want some reusable code. So we get rid of this enormous code and just can reuse the main ideas of our code. Yeah, and that's the goal behind variables. In the next video, we want to go about if statements. There you will learn a new data type, Booleans. If you are interested, what Booleans are and how if statements work. turn back on to the next video and I hopefully see you again. Thank you very much.